YouTube, what is good? So today we are getting a look at my mindset when I'm out doing street photography. What I'm gonna do is put a GoPro on top of my camera for 2 separate photo shoots, and I'm gonna explain exactly what I'm thinking as I'm out making street photos. The idea behind this video is to just give you some insight into what I'm looking for when I make my images, and also give you an idea of how certain photos don't work out. Sometimes it's a mix of opportunity and just seizing the moment, and sometimes just things working out well for you, or you having an idea and being patient and waiting for something to happen inside of a frame. There's a lot of different things that go on when making street photography, and I think this is a cool way to illuminate all those different variables for you. So today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. We'll talk about them a little bit later on. And also, if you want some insight into how I edited these photos, you can go to the link in the description down below and pick up my preset module. This is a tool that I created for the viewers on this channel, as well as people who follow me on social media, to get some insights into how I edit my images without a one-size-fits-all preset. One thing that I don't like about presets is the fact that you can just say a preset was used, but it doesn't work for every single image. This preset module is designed for you to be able to replicate my looks in a variety of different settings. And also with that preset module, there's a 40-minute tutorial that features quite a few of the images in today's video, so you can see how those are made and get an exact breakdown if you download that. And thank you to everyone who picks that up, because it supports the channel and it also allows me to help educate y'all and teach y'all about my edits in a much more efficient, easy way, rather than saying here's a preset or featuring an editing tutorial in every video. You can get the formulas that are attached to each image and hopefully replicate the same look if you have a similar image. So let's get into it today. The first photo shoot is out doing street photography with a 16 to 35 millimeter. The idea behind this photo shoot was just to try out an ultra wide angle lens and see if I could create street images that had more of a unique look. So let's get to it. So one of the main reasons I wanted to use a 16 to 35 for street photography was to take advantage of these wider scenes like this where people might be crossing in a street. So right here, I noticed there's this gap in the trees where the street is happening, and I waited for someone to cross in it. Unfortunately, they're a little far away, so I try another scene over here with the Ferris wheel and this crosswalk. This one's okay, but once again, the subject is kind of lost inside of that backdrop. So I move back to kind of the normal streets type stuff. This is what I call a B-roll photo. It's something I might use in a photo set or something like that later on. Right here, we have a person moving down the street. Make a photo right here. I love the colors, but the composition is not really on point. So what I did is found a composition that I thought would look better with a subject in it, being this puddle and this alleyway. This one looks okay. I waited for someone to cross in that frame, but it actually looks a lot better when I move to the opposite side of the puddle. But unfortunately, I kind of rushed right here and I didn't wait for something to happen in the scene, so it's really just a one-dimensional, cool-looking image, but it's not something very unique, and I wish I had stayed there a little bit longer and not continued to walk around. This shot is cool. I found a composition that looked good. People crossed in the street. They're a little far away because it's at 16 millimeter, but I think that one worked just because of the general way it looked. This shot, on the other hand, didn't really work at 16 millimeter. It could be cool maybe if someone was crossing on the right side of the frame, but once again, I kind of rushed here and didn't wait for something interesting to happen. I just continued to move on, which is definitely something I want you to note in this photo behind the scenes. When you find a composition that works or something that looks good in street photography, stay there, because you're gonna end up doing what I did here, which is just making a bunch of pointless nonsense photos that don't look good and don't give you the goal that you're looking for. But I finally got some sense about me and waited on this shot for someone to move on that wall on the left side. Really like how this one looks with the red lettering, the broken glass, and then that subject there. It gives me 3 real subjects to look at. But I continue on down the street, try to use that building one more time and frame a composition with this cone and this fence. That looks terrible. It's a composition that just simply didn't work. And I noticed the Ferris wheel is kind of covered in this haze and this mist, so I try to frame a subject walking through between these bars right here. That one's not necessarily bad. I would say it's one of the better shots on the day, even though it's fairly simple for the most part. Now, a lot of these compositions right here, I'm rushing because I'm not setting them up, so the subjects are really far away because we're shooting at 16 millimeter. And this might have been a byproduct of me just thinking like I had a 35 millimeter lens on my camera, but I didn't. So if you're going to use a wide angle, you need to be aware of some of the pitfalls that come with it, or any piece of equipment for that matter. You know, you need to understand what it is that you're using and how it affects your images. And in the case of a wide angle like this, a lot of our subjects and a lot of the things that are happening in our scenes are just way too far feeling in the actual photo, creating an image like this, which is very one-dimensional and flat and boring. And this next photo is the exact same way. One-dimensional, flat, and boring because there's not enough happening close to you in that scene. Now this is kind of just a classic, road shot, but once again, it illuminates what I'm talking about. The subject is just way too far away, resulting in this just kind of boring type photo. Now up here on the left, I noticed these trees and someone crossing down the sidewalk. Try to make some type of composition here utilizing that. It probably would have been better for me to turn my camera on its side and just get the trees and not everything going on the right side of that image. This is more of a classic look up, something you'd see on Instagram a couple years ago. I think I just made this image for fun at the time. But coming up the street, I do notice a composition that I really like. And this is an example of me seeing something and then waiting for something to happen inside of it. So when the light turns green and I can walk, I waited for someone to cross. I knew this bus was coming and I was able to frame this shot really well. Love the lights going down the street. And that's an example of me actually thinking and finding something that works before I just go and shoot the photo. This image, it's not doing anything for me. I went up to this parking deck at the end of the shoot trying to replicate what I was trying earlier, which was getting these wide, kind of higher type shots and having something happen inside of them, but nothing was really going on this day. These just didn't really work. But at the end of the day, part of street photography is a little bit of luck. I very well could have been in this exact same situation and something amazing could happen. Maybe a colorful umbrella crossed through, maybe a bunch of people with umbrellas, or similar, this scene, someone with an umbrella could have crossed right in the middle of that X. So you kind of run this risk of something possibly happening and something not. Like this last image right here is just a result of me walking and noticing that that was going to happen, instinctually made the image. And this last shot right here is me seeing someone walking again, waiting for them to cross in front of that wall. It's decent, but all in all, I would say the lesson in this shoot today is when you find a composition that works, wait for it. Don't rush, because I think I could have had a lot more good photos today had I took my time a little bit more. So before we talk about the photos, I quickly want to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace. I often get asked by people how to monetize their creative photography, and Squarespace is one of the best ways to do that. Here's an example of how you can use it in your own business. First, you can watch one of my tutorials on how I built my website, built a print site, and built a portfolio. All of these are linked below. Once you create that, you can populate your store with prints or digital products like presets, so the next time you go on your trip, you can share creative work on social media and create a call to action like this. Go to my website, link in bio to see more photos in my portfolio. Or maybe you can go to the link in my bio to purchase these images as a print. The options are endless, but like I've said a million times on this channel, use the creativity that you have for your art and apply it to your business and creative pitches. But don't take my word for it. Head over to squarespace.com/EvanRamp today so you can start a free trial and use code EvanRamp to save 10% when it's time to sign up. Squarespace is hands down the easiest platform to begin your creative journey with. So that's squarespace.com/EvanRamp. Start a free trial and follow along with one of those tutorials linked down below and use code EvanRamp to save 10% when it's time to sign up. So there we go. That was the photo shoot with the 16 to 35 millimeter. Definitely a fun lens to use for street photography, and I got a very unique result. A lot of those images were finalized and published to my Instagram at EvanRamp, so you can check them out there and see the final result. The second photo shoot on the day is using this 35 millimeter Summicron. I got out in the morning with this lens, and this was a photo shoot that had some fantastic results and a lot of good luck. So y'all know the vibes. Getting out of the car right here. It usually takes me a minute to warm up on my photos. This is the first little warm-up shot. I did love this lighting right here, and this guy actually noticed my camera, showed me his Ricoh or G, whatever those are called. But this is the first real scene that I liked on the day. I positioned these umbrellas kind of to frame this subject right here. I'm not really sure exactly why this guy was standing the way he was, but I really love the colors. I love all the elements here. You know, we we have 3 umbrellas, and then we have the fountain, and then the person. I thought that was a pretty strong composition. And then I tried to get one right here where there was a little more depth of field. I think as a street photo, I prefer the umbrella ones, but I really like the color and the lighting on both of those images with the morning light. So now we're in this courtyard at Georgia State University, rolling through here. This one's unedited, didn't look very good, but wanted to include it just so y'all could see some of the bad ones on the day. I like this light through this window, and I like the fact that this person is just standing there, but I don't know, just the scene itself wasn't the strongest, I guess you could say, and also that photo is unedited as well. I like these this corridor, and I like this morning light once again, but the scene's still not strong. We did have some people walking through, which I did think looked pretty good. All in all, I would call that one a miss, but I do notice this kind of, I guess, letter right here, CM. I'm not sure what it says, but I really like the frame it creates with the M. It was something that stood out to me almost immediately. So I waited here for a little while, hoping someone would cross in this scene because we did have some nice light in the street. This shot looks good. I like the bird, but I think the subject is in a better position on this one. Haven't quite decided which one I like best. You can go ahead and let me know in the comments on that one, I guess. Right here, if you haven't caught on to the theme of the day, because we're out so early in the morning, there is so much morning light happening here. I'm trying to take advantage of it. That shot was a complete miss. I'm not even going to include it in the video. Another reflection here, we have 3 people walking through this frame with this H. Colors look really cool. Kind of wish something more was happening in that shot, but I could see why someone may like it, and it pairs up nice with that last reflection. This one is not good. I wish just something different was happening there. That subject, I really liked their outfit, and could have been cool, but a miss all in all. This one, I noticed these like barricades, whatever you call these things right here, and try to create a frame with it. This one is a little bit stronger. I use them as more of lead lines pointing into the scene as opposed to doing the more symmetrical lead lines. I think that one looked all right. I don't know if I would include that in a photo set per se. This next image is, I've talked about this before in other behind the scenes. This is kind of what I call a storytelling image. So let's say we have a photo set from the day. This one kind of helps set the scene. I think I would crop that one down to a square if I was to use it for anything. But moving on down the street, we have some really good light. You can see it up ahead crossing in front of the Georgia State campus. So I move around a little bit here. You can't see the camera on this shot because it's down at my hip. This was shot at f8. Absolutely love the colors on these trees, love the lighting. That is an extremely strong image on the day. One of my favorites to go with that reflection one earlier, and to go with the park one. I think the colors kind of match as well. Right here, I'm trying to utilize this light with this chaotic kind of still life type scene. Reminds me a lot of Alex Webb, you know, one of my favorite photographers, but just I couldn't really get the right subject and framing on that one. I was struggling with it. I do like the way these reflections look here, and I like the Falcons logo, so I try to set up a frame. Wish a little bit more was happening here, but maybe I wish more was happening in the window. There was something off with that one, but it was it had some potential, I guess is the best way to say. This one right here, it's a miss. I don't think this looks like a very good photo. We do have the subject with the cool colors walking down the street. Continue up the street though, and I'm still trying to take advantage of these really nice orange colors and the blue sky we have. So right here, I wait for a subject or a person to cross in between some of these natural framings we have. I think that one looks decent. I might be able to brighten it up in post. So on the day, but we have these amazing colors in the trees, and then we just happened to find this person in a blue hoodie. I thought the colors are really complimentary. Once again, I might have to straighten this out. I might work on it a little more in post. I just don't think the scene itself was strong enough. It's the example of, you know, finding really good colors, but nothing happening to utilize the colors. Right here, I happen to notice a motorcycle riding through this frame. That one's not very good either. I've actually used that composition multiple times before, and I've never really been able to get a shot there that I like. Crossing here, you'll see down the way, there's these like yellow squares, and I waited for someone to cross in front of it. I feel like I could have done something here, maybe if I had taken a few steps forward, waited at that spot, but this is not a very busy intersection, and I didn't feel like waiting around for someone to cross into that scene. So I continue on more into downtown where a little bit more is going on. I thought this lady was interesting, you know, smoking a cigarette, being on the phone. So once again, this is shot from the hip. You can't see me. I kind of like moved to the left. An okay photo. Once again, nothing crazy happening there. I wish there was just more going on in the scene, but possibly that could find its way into a photo set of street photos, maybe. Right here, utilizing the colors and reflections. I think that one looks really cool. Wish something was happening in the frame. Looking back in hindsight, instead of turning around and making this photo right here, which isn't anywhere near as strong of a composition, I should have just waited at that last one and taken my time and waited for something to happen in that frame, because it was a really good frame. Like, I could have waited for this guy who was just running down the street, and that shot I'm talking about would have been good. But go up these stairs towards Peachtree Center, turn around and notice this guy on a scooter crossing through. Love this natural frame that we have here. This shot is pretty good, pretty cool and interesting composition, and something that I think I could use in a photo set. Right here, like this guy crossing the street, but the shot didn't turn out. Peachtree Center is pretty famous. I've been here a billion times, made photos here a billion times. So I try a couple things, just once again taking advantage of this light. I thought it would be interesting in the morning. This is okay. The colors are a little off. I gotta fix those in post. That pretty cliche, kind of boring looking. And then I did like this light down here. Wish the lighting was a little bit different there though. So experience at Peachtree Center, but I do really like the colors here. We have this awesome person walking through the frame. So what I do is I frame up the cop car and that orange sign on the left side, wait for the subject to cross through. Really like the colors there. Wish I had maybe angled off and got more of the trees in that shot, because as you can see in this one, it's not as strong of a composition, but the colors are a little bit stronger. So I think if I'd combined the two techniques of those last two photos together, it would have been something ideal. And this is the last shot. Well, kind of the last shot of the day. Just something of Peachtree Center, you know, kind of a throwaway photo if I'm being honest. So there we go. That is my thought process behind my street photography. I hope this video gave you some insight into how my brain works, what I look for when I'm out making street images. And if you enjoyed the video today, hit the thumbs up button and feel free to ask questions in the comments. I'll go ahead and answer questions for the first 2 hours. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.